Game console repairs. In this video I'll be showing how to replace Nintendo DSi XL game cartridge slot. The reasons you may have to replace your game card slot are: suppose you have damaged or broken pins on your game slot, or when you try to slide in your game cartridge it doesn't fit in, or it doesn't slide in all the way. Or the very common is when you insert your game cartridge and when you go under the game's icon it doesn't show there, or it doesn't read it, or it fails to read it. That's a common indication that you have a failed game slot, and in order to fix it you need to replace it with a new one. These are the tools required in order to open up your Nintendo DSi XL and replace your old damaged, broken game cartridge slot with a new one. You need driving screwdriver, Phillips #0 screwdriver, scalpel, microturn precision screwdriver, tweezers, fine tweezers. These are called splinter tweezers. Phillips flathead screwdriver, metal spudger. In order to desolder the old game card slot and solder a new one, you need a bit of desoldering and soldering stuff as well. These are the items. You need a soldering iron, preferably 30 to 40 watt, and you need a desoldering gun or a desoldering station. The temperatures needed in order to desolder the old game card slot ranges from 400 degrees to 480 degrees. You'll also be needing solder. The ratio we have here is 60 by 40, and the diameter we use is 0.46 millimeter. Desoldering braid, desolder wick, or you can, if you're comfortable, you can also use the desoldering pump. This is just an easier option. Very important, Flux. We'll be using Flux pen. Since it's a small board, it's easier to use one of these Flux pens. Flux aids the process of soldering and desoldering, so this is very important. Make sure you get one of those no clean, no residue Flux pens. That means when you apply the Flux, even if you leave it onto the board, it should be still fine. However, sometimes there are many Fluxes available. Even if you apply it, and even if these says no clean, no residue, you still have to clean it in some cases. In order to clean it, you need isopropyl alcohol and some of the cleaning stuff, cotton balls and Q-tips. Obviously you'll also be needing a brand new game cartridge. So that's your game cartridge. It's also compatible with your DSi. So DSi and DSi XL, they both have the same game card slot. So that's the new one. Next, you'll be needing some wire cutters. You can use one of this one, or you can use one of the very fine, sharp razor blade angled wire cutters. So that's this one. This helps the process of desoldering. Basically, if sometimes, suppose it's a bit difficult to desolder one of these pins, so these two or one of any of these pins, so the easier option is just to cut the pins and separate them from the board. So sometimes you may need them. So these are all the tools required in order to perform the whole operation. Let's get going. Let's open up your Nintendo DSi XL. Step 1, remove stylus, remove the game, and remove the SD card if there's any in there. I only got stylus, so remove that. Next, remove these two screws. And remove the battery cover. Next, take out the battery. Next, remove these two rubber pads using your micro-10 precision screwdriver. Next, remove these two screws. Next, remove this screw as well. Next, remove the three screws here. So two screws that's holding the game cartridge, and there's another small one there. So remove all three. Next, remove this screw. Now we are able to lift up our bottom panel, but be very gentle with it. So you can see it's lifted up. In order to fully remove it, grab your metal spudger and run it along the sides. There are two clips here actually that we need to unclip. Simply run it along the sides. Okay. You can lift it up, but don't lift it up all the way, as there are two cables connected. Just to quickly show you. So these are the two cables that's connected. Simply disconnect this and disconnect this as well, and our bottom frame is separated. Next, we'll be disconnecting all these cables, and we'll be removing the 5 motherboard screws. Okay, let's disconnect all the cables first. So grab your micro-10 precision screwdriver and remove this sticker. Remove this sticker as well. Be very gentle with this connector and this one. Next, lift up the power button here. Simply slide your micro-10 precision screw in and lift it up. So all we did here is we slide this in, and there are two metal pins that's connected with this, and we lifted it up. Next, remove this cable as well. Again, be very gentle with this. It's extremely fragile. Next, remove the camera cable. Remove this speaker and your Wi-Fi board. Okay, now we are ready to remove the motherboard screws. So remove this one. Remove this. Okay, we are almost ready to lift up our motherboard. Simply just pull it out, but be very careful as there is top screen cable here connected still with the motherboard. So simply lift it up and there's our top screen cable connector. So simply it's clipped in, unclip it, and there we go. Our motherboard is separated. Alright, we'll mostly be working with the Nintendo DSi XL motherboard now. What we'll be doing, we'll be desoldering the old damaged broken game slot and replacing it with a new one. Make sure you have the DSi or DSi XL game card slot. Just to give you a brief overview, what points we'll be desoldering, and these are the points. We'll be desoldering these 2 points here, and once those 2 are desoldered, we are easily you'll see that this will be separated from the motherboard. Next, we'll be desoldering the 3 points here. There's one big one and then there are 2 small legs. Sometimes it gets a bit difficult to desolder these 2, so you have the option of cutting these 2 points as well. Next, we'll be desoldering this point here. Then either you can use your desoldering braid and remove a bit of solder from here and remove this, or you can simply remove it as well. That's about it. Alright, let's get going. Alright, grab your hot soldering iron, solder flux, and the desoldering braid. Let's apply the flux to these 2 points first. And add a bit of solder there. Next, grab your desoldering braid and desolder it. Take off as much as you can. Next, remove from here as well. That's done. Next, we'll be applying flux to these 3 points and adding a bit of solder, and then using our braid and desolder this as well. Okay, grab your desoldering braid. desolder this. You have to be a bit careful in this area. You don't want to damage any of the surrounding components. So try to take off as much as you can in case it's not coming off, or there is another option that you can simply cut these joints as well. Okay, that's more than enough. Next, the two small legs. Okay, next, this point here, so apply a bit of flux. Add a bit of solder. And remove it via your desoldering blade. Okay, so just be ultra gentle and ultra careful with the surrounding components. That's off. Next, all these small legs here, so apply a bit of flux. Add a bit of solder. Okay, grab your desoldering blade. Okay. That's alright, even if you damage any legs, you're gonna remove it anyway. Okay, next, let's test it out and see if it's separating from the motherboard. Alright, next grab a small microturn precision screwdriver, and okay, as you can see, so this leg is lifted off, and we will just lift off this leg as well. So grab your hot soldering iron, apply it to this side as well. Okay, so that's off as well. And just apply it a bit here. Okay, so we have these two legs that are off. This is just to show you, but be ultra careful not to apply too much force. You can damage any the solder pads if you apply too much force here, so you have to be a bit careful. This is only just to show you. So this leg is off, as you can see, and those two legs have come off. Next, you can simply cut these legs as well. So simply grab your fine microturn precision tweezers and just cut this. So that's fine cut here, another fine cut there. Next, cut this leg from here as well. And now we are simply able to remove the game slot. Okay, so our game slot is separated from the motherboard. Let's clean up all these connections. Okay, let's clean up these connections. Apply a bit of flux. All we are doing is just polishing the solder joints so that when we place our new game slot, it fits in nice and easy. Okay, that's done. Alright, next grab your new DSi XL game slot and grab some isopropylene alcohol. What we'll be doing, we'll be cleaning up all these connections here first, and then we'll apply a bit of flux so that it aids the process of soldering. So clean up all the legs here. Up. Wait a few minutes and then we'll apply flux. Alright, let's apply flux. Okay, and let's place it onto our motherboard. Next, we'll be placing our new game slot onto the motherboard. Before doing that, apply just a bit of flux. Okay, all you have to do is align these two pins with these two holes and place it on the motherboard. Make sure it's fit in there. Once it's fitted in, let's just solder these two points first. Grab your hot soldering iron and solder flux. It's done. Next, these three connections here. Just trying to make a decent solder joint here, so next, these two small legs. That's done. Next, this joint here. Okay, that's done. Next, all these small pins here. Even if you try to do as precise as you can, but even if you bridge them, you can always desolder it. So okay, let's just do a quick test to see if your pins are moving. That's fine, this is fine, it's fine, that's fine. Okay, there's a bit of joint there, so simply that's fine. Better. That's done. Next, that's it, all done. So we have soldered a new DSi game slot onto Nintendo DSi XL motherboard. Next, even though we use no clean, no residue Flux, it's still a good habit to clean up all these joints where we added the flux. So grab your isopropyl alcohol, grab some Q-tips and cotton balls, and do a bit of cleaning. Okay, clean up here as well. Okay. Grab some Q-tips, dip it in isopropyl alcohol, and just do a final touch-up cleaning. That's about it. Alright, let's put our console back together and let's place the motherboard back into the bottom half of the Nintendo DSi XL. Okay, let's just fix this first. Okay, next connect your top screen cable into this connector. pull the cables away. Okay, next let's place our camera cable back in its connector. So in order to do that, grab small tweezers, simply slide it in. Next, let's put all the motherboard screws first. So the small silver one, and that goes in here. Then the 4 black screws, they go in here, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, connect the speaker cable and connect your microphone module. So just simply place this into this connector. You have to place the cable in this connector as well. Next, let's connect all these cables. The first one is your power cable. Grab your tweezers, connect all the remaining ones. So simply slide these cables into the connectors. You have to be very careful with the P18 and P10 connectors. Extremely fragile, so try not to force anything. And the last one is P10 touch panel connector. That's done. Next, let's put back our top cover. In order to do that, you have to place these 2 cables into the connectors first. So this one goes in this one and the other one goes in here. So all you gotta do is just align it, and once you hear a clicking noise, that means it's clipped in. Okay, so that's clipped in, and the other one, okay, that's clipped in as well. Simply close down the cover and place the remaining screws. Okay, the 4 silver screws. There are 2 that go in here, 1, number 2, and the remaining 2 they go in here. The 2 black screws go in here. And the 1 small Phillips black screw, it goes on to the game slot here. Place your battery and the battery cover. And finally place all the rubber pads. That's it.